Hey everybody, welcome back to the Royal Read. I am so glad you decided to stop by and see what I'm reading on. But before we get started, you already know I have to do it. I have to do it. And that is to invite everyone in. No gatekeeping, no pretending, because we all know this is the best community on these internet streets. And if you have been hanging out with us, having a good time over there in the comments, talking to some of the best people in the world, and you still hadn't subscribed, what are you waiting on? It is so easy. All you got to do is go down in those settings, look around, find that subscribe button, and go ahead on and subscribe. And while you're in there, hit the notification bell too so you'll know when I upload or when I just want to pop in. And give me a thumbs up to fight my nemesis, that beast, that algorithm. I'm telling you, it is leading me around by my neck. But I will get back on top because I have y'all, all of y'all on my side. Also, I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to all of the readers who decide to support the channel by watching the commercials. Y'all always do a great job, and I appreciate y'all so very much. Y'all are the best. Also, over in the corner, that's our join button. That's for channel memberships. And if you choose to become a channel member and a part of the reading club, you will be supporting this channel to grow, to improve, and to continue. And I'll be so grateful, so thankful, so over the moon appreciative to have your support. Also, if you just want to do a one-time donation, it's easy peasy. I'm telling you, all you got to do is look for that super thanks button. And just so you know, all donations to the channel is always greatly appreciated. All right, y'all, we do have some shout outs. We do. And first up is my girl, Jib Me Away. Yes, she came through. Jib Me Away has been with me for a while, and she is so supportive. She is. Now, she is not always in the comments, but when she do, she is dropping some dimes. She is. She is just so great and so kind and so sweet and so supportive. I appreciate her so very much. I'm so glad that she is a part of this tribe. I am. So thank you, giving me way. Thank you for being a ride or die, always down with the read. Thank you for coming through. But most of all, thank you for being here. Also, Yolette came through. Yes, faithful, never disappointing. Yolette, she is always coming through. She is always in those comments. She is always encouraging, always just dropping so much knowledge. She is down with the read. She is, and it is no way you can get around that. She is a ride or die, and I appreciate her so very much. So thank you, Let. Thank you for the super thanks, but most of all, thank you for being here. And Patricia Smith, yes, she came on through. Patricia is a ride or die as well. Always down with the read. I'm telling you, in those comments, always giving you something to think about. She is. Y'all remember that song? Giving them something to think about. That is Patricia. Yes. And Patricia is just so kind and so supportive. And I appreciate her so very much. So thank you, Patricia. Thank you for coming through. But thank you for being a part of this tribe. And Cat Harlem, yes, Cat Harlem came through. Cat is just everything. She is. Her profile picture just gives me life. She is so cool. I love it. And she is so smart. Always coming through and giving you something to think about. She is. She always sees things a little different from everyone else, and she is so thought provoking. She is. I love Kat, and I am so thrilled that she is a part of this community and she rides with the read. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Kat. Thank you for the super things, but most of all, thank you for being here. All right, y'all, I'm going to play this and we'll talk on the other side. All right, y'all. I want to give another quick shout out to Jib Me Away, to Eulette, to Patricia Smith, and Kat Harlan. Listen, y'all are just everything. Y'all are so supportive, so kind. Y'all came through. You didn't have to, but you did, and it means so very much. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the super thanks, but most of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this tribe. All right, y'all. Y'all know what time it is, and y'all know what I do when I am putting the read together. I hit these internet streets, and let me tell you, that's exactly where I have been. And it is some interesting things going on. It looks like Prince Edward was out and about at a summit, and he got asked about the one that's formerly known as Prince and JE. And what he said did not come across very well at all. You could tell he was not prepared. And I must say, if you know anything about Edward, you know that he's not the most articulate person in the world. And he has the personality of a dead fern. So, yeah, I'm not surprised he wasn't prepared and he didn't come up with a good response. So, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Kitty. She was out and about doing an engagement and she was doing nothing but thieving off of Meghan. I must say, Kitty's thieving, her copying, her absolutely trying to become Meghan in front of everyone's eyes is annoying. I have never saw anything or anybody so determined to make themselves over in the image of someone they say they can't even stand. It's mind blowing. That's all I'm saying. But we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about Sarah Ferguson. Look like more stuff is coming out about her. And it looks like she has hit the road, Jack. Yes, and she ain't coming back no more, no more. So we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about how the squatties are just filling my timeline full of appreciation for Harry and how Harry saw all this coming and got the hell out of Dodge. Yes, and took his wife and his baby and has built this wonderful life and how he foreseen how everything was going to shake out. And that is the reason why he wrote Spare. So, yes, squatters are talking about that, and we're going to discuss that a little bit as well. And of course, y'all know I always have some other little tidbits, and I'm going to throw in there as well. So, let's get to it. I'm not going to keep you long, but I promise you I'm going to keep you entertained. So let's start with this. As you can see, Chris Ship with a P and not a T, as Byron would say, has posted this and said, breaking. As first reported by Matt's son Royal. Now, y'all know who that is. That's old big head Matt Wilkinson that works over there for the scum. And I'm not surprised that they planted the story in the Sun because we all know that the Sun has worked closely with them, especially with that hoax when it came to that farm market video. Y'all remember that? Yes, that was the scum. That was Victoria Newton, the editor-in-chief of the Scum newspaper. And she said on national television and said that they worked hand in glove with Kensington Palace to put that farce out. And ever since then, they pretty much been the go-to when they wanted to plant a story. And that goes for Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace. I don't know what kind of deal has been made with Murdoch, but they always go to the Sun. So I am willing to bet you this is absolutely true. And it's saying that they have booted Andrew. Breaking, as first reported by @MetSunRoyal, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has been booted out of Royal Lodge in Windsor. The former prince has moved to Sandringham, not his final home, but a temporary pad, while his other place is made ready. They were ready to get him out of there. And you know why? Because of this. I'm going to put it up. Y'all remember we talked about this yesterday. He had the nerve to be out riding out at Windsor in front of the Paps, where he knew he was going to get papped, and he was out. And this was reported by Rutgers. It is not reported by one of those rags. Rutgers is a very well respected news organization here in America, but it's really international. And for them to report that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor rides a horse in Windsor Great Park near Royal Lodge, where he resides, on February the 2nd, well, he ain't residing over there on February the 3rd. They were ready to get rid of Andrew because Andrew was out here looking very unbothered and defiant. And they could not have it because they know people are really disgusted by everything that is coming out of those JE files. And they cannot have him in the public eye. So, yeah, that's the reason why he got booted. Because he was out riding horses in front of the paparazzi and acting and behaving as he was unbothered. Unbothered by all the stuff that has recently come out, including that picture where he is hovering over that very young girl, because you can tell by her body frame and her hands and arms that she is a very young girl. And he's hovering over her in one picture where she looks, well, she appears that she is unconscious, but he has no qualms with jumping on a horse and riding out in front of the Paps. And Charles said, no, that just ain't going to work for me. You were living in Royal Lodge on the 2nd, but you will not be living in Royal Lodge on the 3rd. We are going to pack you up and you got to get up out of here. That reminds me of Martin. I don't know if y'all know that sitcom Martin. Martin used to say, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here. And that's exactly what they told Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Yes. They are nervous. Yes, they are absolutely sweating bullets over there to Kensington Palace and Buckingham Palace because they are nervous about what has come out and what will come out because they know it is more to come. And I don't think they can weather it. I'm just saying. And when they saw the pictures of Andrew on this horse riding in front of paparazzi right after all of this has broke, and he is riding his horse and looking so unbothered and so unconcerned, like he is fully protected. Oh, no, 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 they could not have that. They said, you got to go. They packed him up last night and shipped him over there to Sandringham. I mean, like a thief in the night. I bet it was 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Andrew had his clothes in his suitcase and he was somewhere trying to figure out if the lights was on at his new place. Yeah, he made a big mistake with that one. And I'm gonna put this up because this too maybe played a role in them shipping Andrew over to Syndrome as fast as they could. Because look at this, this was in the fail. It says exclusive. JD Vance, who is the vice president, unleashed on Andrew. Bax calls for him to testify in the U.S. over JE. He tears into incestuous elites exposed in files. Now I bet you that right there struck some fear in the hearts of some people over there in that institution. Because one thing they do not want is Andrew to testify. They are pulling every string that they got to keep that from happening. Don't even get it twisted. They do not want Andrew to be seen again. And that is especially not in the halls of Congress. But as for J.D. Vance, his issue is the elites. He was born poor, and you can tell that he has a chip on his shoulder when it comes to people who was born rich, who was born into wealth, who was born into prestige. Unlike Meghan, who is just a person who is secure in themselves and can move in all the different circles. This man is not comfortable in his own skin, and you can tell because other people's wealth would not bother you if you have some of your own. And if you're comfortable in your skin, it's not going to bother you if you don't have it. But this man has some issues. He really does. So he is a really big threat when it comes to Andrew. He really is. And maybe sometime the devil can do God's work. Who knows? Because we all know the persecution of Andrew is absolutely justified. But he is not doing it from a righteous place. He is doing it from a place of insecurity. That's my belief, and I'm going to stand by it. And this particular squatty that posted this said the royals can't use Harry and Meghan to deflect this time. The monarchy will be feeling the heat, and MAGA will latch onto this as a cause. Down goes the monarchy, karma. I tell you what, we will see. Get your popcorn, get your wine. This is another one. Just sit back and let's see where all the chips are going to fall. But it looks like, yeah, it might be some difficult times ahead for the royal family. I'm just saying. And this squatty said, I'm telling you, this one is so funny. Said Scooter on his way to Royal Lodge now that he knows it's finally vacant. Yes, saying that William is on his scooter scooting over there to Royal Lodge, staking his claim because we all know he's not living over there at Forest Lodge. Yeah, he gonna set up housekeeping over there at Royal Lodge now. I'm just saying. I'm gonna put this up because squatties are really calling those flying monkeys to task over there because y'all notice how quiet they are, and when they post about something that doesn't have anything to do with the hot story that's going on, and that's the JE files. And the squatties are absolutely coming for their necks about it because we all know people like Phil Dampier, if Harry and Meghan breathe hard, he is posting or writing some kind of article absolutely slamming them for nothing. Absolutely nothing. But here, the story of the century continues to unwind, and this is what Phil Dampier posted today. It says, I can't see anything in today's paper about 200 miners being killed in the Congo. People only care about their smartphones, not how the material they use or obtain. Appalling. Now, what he's talking about is absolutely important. These are people's lives, and I get that. But listen, he's not in the Congo either. He is in the United Kingdom, and the biggest story is going on. And he can post about the Congo, these poor miners losing their lives, but he also could be posting and being courageous by talking about what is going on with the JE files. And of course, this squatty came for his neck and said this: Phil, you're awfully quiet about the recent revelations surrounding Andrew Windsor and Fergie. God knows you always have a snide remark whenever anything about Harry and Meghan is published. One would think, as a royal commentator, you would be asking, what did the royal family know and when did they know it? But instead, you're talking about the Congo. Are you just a sycophant? Yes, yes, he is. And I love this. They are not allowing him to get away with this at all. They are all trying to get away with it. They're trying to either be on mute mode or talk about something else. But to me, this is just exposure. This shows exactly who these people are. They are the PR arm of that family over there. And here it is on full display. These people have shown all their cards, and we see exactly what they are about. Now, this is not a surprise to squatties. We already knew, but there it is for other people to see. They have been exposed. The biggest story of the century, and he is talking about 200 miners that was killed in the Congo. Very important, don't get me wrong, but it's an equally or more important story that is dropping right there on his doorstep, and he refuses to cover it. And I'm going to put this one up because this squatty decided to tag each and every one of those flying monkeys like Phil Dampier, who is refusing to cover the story of the century that is right there on their doorstep. This squatty tagged Camilla Tominey, Angela Levin, Roy Dickey, we know that's Dickie Arbiton, and Cameron Walker, Jabo, and I mean, even Richard Fitzwilliam, and even put hashtag Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, hashtag JE Files, hashtag pedo protectors, yes, and then said this: are you silent or are you silenced? This right here is Chef's Kiss, is it not? Is it not? I'm telling you, that's the tea. And I want to say this while we have this picture up, and it's of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and a young girl who seems to be unconscious. Now, I don't know that for sure or anything like that, but that is the way it looks to me. But I also want to say this: the derangers, the trolls, the toadies, all of the ugly old hags are saying that this woman that is in this picture is Meghan. And to me, this goes to show you how dumb they are. They are just so stupid and so ignorant and so hate filled that they can't even see what's obvious right in their face. Yes, they're saying that it looks like Meghan to me. She has on a similar bracelet as Meghan wears, and all kinds of old nonsense like that. But as you can see, if you look under the black box that is over her face, you can still see her hair color. And this young woman is a blonde. So tell me, derangers, Tell me, ugly old hags. Tell me, trolls and toadies. How could that be Meghan? How could it be her when this woman, well, this young girl, is clearly a blonde? I mean, they are so desperate to try to drag Meghan into this mess because they have a sense that Kitty Cat is going to be in this mess. Like I said, I am waiting. I am waiting because I will not be surprised because Kitty Cat was about that life. Now, Meghan was not, but Kitty, she was definitely about that life, and because of that, she might be in the next dump. I'm just saying. But yeah, this is what they're saying out here on these internet streets, just being absolutely stupid. And I even hated to bring it up. I didn't even engage with these people. Sometimes it's just mentally exhausting when they are just so stupid that they can't even see what is in front of their faces. But they don't want to see. They want to try to believe somehow that Meghan is not a good person. They just cannot accept the fact that Meghan is a good person and they are not. I'm just saying. And I'm going to put this up because this squad is even calling out the podcasters. Yes, little tooth, big tooth. And some of those really, really vicious ones, like old Pie Face Taz and Megan the Mole and all of them, where are they at? Where are they? Why aren't they making content about this? Because they said they're royal reporters, but how can you really consider yourself a royal reporter when 95% of your content is about Harry and Meghan, someone you say isn't a royal? And definitely not a working role. I don't understand how they justify that. But when a real role is in trouble or have a story that is engulfing the whole global stage, why aren't you doing podcasts about them? Why are you so mute? What is going on here? I thought you was raw reporters. Yeah, very, very curious. This particular squad is said all of the raw podcasters, most of whom earn a living talking about Meghan Markle, going to comment on how the British, the Norwegian, and Swedish royal families are all up to their neck in depravity with JE. As effing if. Yes, where is your content? It is plenty of content to be written about. But we all know that these people are really not royal podcasters. We know these people are really not royal fans. We know these people are not really royal fans. They're none of that. They are Meghan haters. That's all they are. And they prove it time and time again. And this particular event that has happened, this JE Files drop, has exposed so many people. Like I said, 2026 is the year that will continue to be the exposure year. 2025 kicked it off, and 2026 looks like it is going to be a banger as well. And it's exposing these people. Yes, you know, the one who calls herself a nerd that doesn't wash her hair, look like her hair has enough grease to fry a big batch of chicken, but yet and still all she has in her content is stuff about Meghan. And when stuff like this go down, mute mode, mute mode. But yeah, I'm with this squatty. Where you at? We hollering at you. Where you at? And I'm gonna put this one up because it looks like Prince Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh, was at the World Government Summit 2026. And he was asked about this whole mess. He was asked about JE. He was asked about his brother, yes, Andrew, formerly known as Prince. And he gave such a tone-deaf response. Narendra Kaur, she posted about it and said, Prince Edward is asked about Andrew and J.E. He said this, it's really important always to remember the victims and who are the victims in this. A lot of victims. And that just made no sense. It was just like he was doing his best impression of Kitty. I mean, he couldn't get those sentences tied together in order for them to make any sense. And people are just not having it. They are not happy with it. And Narendra went on and said, has he forgotten the monarchy paid hush money to a victim? He has not forgotten that, but he is trying to get out of it. He is trying to say something without saying anything. Now, I don't know that much about Edward, if he's a smart person or if he's a dumb person. But I'll tell you one thing, in this particular situation, he is behaving like a very dumb person. Someone who should have known the question was coming and should have had an acceptable answer ready to go. But instead, he gave us this word salad that makes no sense. I can tell you this, he didn't do himself or the royal family any favors coming there ill prepared like that. He should have known he was going to get that question, and he had nothing. And it looks very insensitive. Like I said, it did not help him or that family. I'm just saying. And this particular squatty posted about that and said, please remember the victims and forget that my brother, Prince Andrew, abused them. Remember the victims and let's not prosecute my brother. Disgusting hypocrisy from Prince Edward. Yeah, I mean, what was that? And of course, that's not exactly what he said, but when you read between the lines, that's pretty much what he was saying. I mean, it made no sense. It is ridiculous. These people are so mediocre. They are, and they behave so badly. And when in a crisis, they really show you that they're not that smart. And I'm going to put this up. And this particular squatty posted this article from the fail. And it's pretty much saying what I have been saying in past podcasts, that it is a rift between Anne and Edward and Charles because they feel that Charles has been too harsh on the former Prince Andrew. And I really believe this to be true because we all know that they had the first ever movie premiere at Windsor Castle. Anne was not there, and neither was Edward. And then they put out this planted story about why Edward was not there. So I really feel that this is true. And the title of this article that this squatty posted is Inside Andrew's Life in Exile. His pokey new home, no space for staff or a proper garage. And the biggest humiliation of all, as the ex-prince downsizes, why Anne and Edward worries Charles has gone too far. Now, what y'all think about this article? Do you think they're trying to garner some kind of sympathy for the one formerly known as Prince? I kind of think so, but I don't think he's going to get much because it's a lot of people would love to live in a house that looks like that one. I don't think he's going to get any sympathy because all the horrors that he is accused of doing, and which I believe he did, he deserves even less than that. He deserves a jail cell. So I don't think too many people are really going to have any kind of feelings about this. It's not going to pull at their heartstrings that he doesn't have a garage or staff. I mean, these people. And the squatty that posted this said Prince Edward should stop his hypocrisy and lies. When did he start caring about J.E. Fowles' victims? The royal family shows solidarity with Andrew. Years after the BBC interview, the Queen forked over £12 million. You all protected a child sex offender. Andrew Windsor. Exactly. Exactly. And nobody's going to feel sorry for him. We don't even feel sorry for any of that family over there. I mean, why would you? Because he's guilty, but they clothed for him. They protected him. They made sure that he had everything that he needed, including security, while they were snatching that same thing away from Harry, who had done nothing but told the truth about how they treated him. So yeah, stop it. Stop it, Edward. Because nobody feels sorry for you, your family, or your brother. And I'm gonna put this up because Peter Hunt posted this. I think he is a former politician. I think that's who he is. But I think he has transitioned from that into a journalist and a staunch critic of that family over there. And he posted this. He says, it's now time King Charles states publicly that his brother should cooperate with the U.S. authorities and for the British media to start asking Charles and William tough questions about Andrew the next time they're out on a public engagement. Otherwise, it looks too cozy. Well, we know why it's so cozy because it is cozy. And he reposted the BBC article that said Prince Edward says, remember the victims after J.E. Fowles' release. Yes, it's cozy. It's real cozy. And it's called the Invisible Contract. And you know about it. Everybody knows about it. It's not invisible anymore. And so I don't understand why people continue to pretend. They're not going to ask Charles and William anything. If they get asked anything, it's going to be like they did Edward. It is going to be a member of the audience, a member of the public. It will never be a member of the press. They're too cowardice to do anything. They are. I look at Chris Ship with a P and not a T, and he's a coward. He is a full on coward. He walks around and reports what they tell him to report. He never ever takes an initiative to go after a story. And he knows about all of it. He does. Squatties be in his comments talking about that scar upside of Kitty's head and all the other stuff. And he never writes about that. He never does. Like I said, he's a coward. They all are. And they're all on board with that family. And this squatty came up under his post and said, worse than looking cozy, it is cozy. Shouldn't the monarchy work to uphold the law? The law is for the little people. It's not for the rich. It's not for the aristocrats. It is not for the royals. Because if Andrew was anybody else except the king's brother, he would be in jail right now. He really would be. And he would not be by himself. He would be right there with the one that shall not be named. And I'm going to put this up. This squatty posted a picture of King Charles III and said this. The father who told the UK media to use his grief-stricken teenage son, Prince Harry, to whitewash the woman who wrecked his mom's life. Later added his wife to be brutalized. Then said if an attack on Harry were to be successful, the British people wouldn't mind. Vile human being, where is the lie? This is the person that people are expecting to have some kind of feelings for these young girls who have been victimized. They have no sympathy. For some reason, that's not the royal gene. The royal gene that runs through all of them is selfishness, self centeredness, and self focus. So I don't understand why people are so shocked by the behavior of these people because they do not have the capacity to have sympathy for anyone except themselves. You best believe the one who is formerly known as Prince feels very, very sorry for himself and is blaming everyone else, including the victims, because that's the royal way. And I'm gonna put this up because they're reporting that Sarah Ferguson has hit the road, Jack, and she probably won't be back no more, no more, no more. Because this particular squatty is saying this. Sarah Ferguson has reportedly fled the UK after the latest drop of the JE files shed new light on the extent of her dealings with the dead pedo years after his conviction for child sex offenses. It is not known whether Piers Morgan has offered refuge to his great pal Sarah. Yes, you know he said that they were great pals. I wonder how he's feeling now. I bet you he absolutely has let her go, just dismissed her right out of hand because it was always a transactional relationship. He got something out of it. He got to be royal adjacent. I just don't understand how these people will do anything to be royal adjacent. They will. And that's exactly why he cared anything about Sarah. And now she has self combusted and blown up. He doesn't want to have anything to do with her because he can't get anything out of it. Because being royal adjacent is what he wanted, and she's no longer royal. She's not a duchess anymore, and she's not married to a prince anymore. So I'm sure he's not offering her anything. And I'm going to put this up. This was in the BBC, and they're talking about all the emails that's concerning her. And the name of the article is Sarah Ferguson's email to JE shows increased desperation. Now, a lot of squatties had issues with that word desperation because it is trying to garner sympathy for this woman. And this woman deserves no sympathy. She absolutely is a wretched, wretched human being. Always has been, always will be. And why would we want to have sympathy for this woman who has been complicit in the face of so much suffering? She had no sympathy for those young girls. She knew what was going on and she couldn't have cared less. All she cared about was her bills. In this article, they're saying she debased herself pretty much when it comes to him. She didn't act as if she was a royal duchess at all. She did nothing but beg for money and talk about how she wanted to marry him or he could marry both. She had a woman for him and she had a great body and he could marry both of them, or she could just be in charge of his home, make sure, I guess like a maid or something. I don't know what Sarah was talking about. But what she really wanted and what she continues to want is to have someone take care of her. Now, this is how the article describes her. It says she comes across as a needy figure, chasing money and support, more desperate than a duchess, apparently describing herself to JE as very traumatized and alone. and seems to suggest she could be employed to organize your houses. That's a quote from her. That's what she said. She wanted to be employed to organize his houses. And he definitely had the power in the relationship because at one point he's saying that a friend of his was going to be in London, and if she could make available one of the girls or her maybe to give them a tour of Buckingham Palace. I mean, he just calls her up out the blue and tells her this. And she said, yes, right. I mean, it is crazy. It's crazy what was going on here. And this right here is the reason why I have no sympathy for Sarah. It says some of the emails dated from when JE was still serving a sentence for soliciting sex from a minor, according to the documents. He was released from prison on the 22nd of July 2009 after serving 13 months of his 18-month sentence. Yes, she was still emailing him and talking to him while she knew he was in prison for doing these horrid, horrid things. I mean, how can you have sympathy for a woman who does that? And then it says the next month she appears to ask, when are you going to employ me? And the same day she said, phew, you still love me. I cannot. How can you muster up any sympathy for this person when she knows what this person is about? It was all about money, securing the bag. And she just begged for money to pay her bills and everything. I mean, she was out here just absolutely doing anything and everything in order to pay bills. I mean, this woman is so reckless. I mean, she wrote books. She would do things to make money. I don't understand where all her money went. It's as if she burns it up or whatever. I don't know. But she constantly was begging this man for money. And I want to read the portion that's really getting a lot of attention. And it's this part right here. It says, she added that no woman has ever left the royal family with her head, and they cannot behead me. Therefore, they will discredit me totally to obliteration. Well, we know that's the truth. We do. And she absolutely said that, and a lot of articles are being written about that. And a lot of people are looking back at Diana. Also, the last sentence in this particular article said on Monday evening, Ferguson's charity, Sarah's Trust, announced it would be closed for the foreseeable future. Yeah, she ain't got nothing, y'all. She did it to herself. You can't feel sorry for someone who's getting stabbed when they give the person the knife. And that's what Sarah did. She gave them the knife to stab her with. And now here she is. And I want to put this up because this particular squatty posted a picture of the car that Diana was in. And I must say, it's very disturbing to me. It is. And this squatty said, no woman has ever left the royal family with her head. Sarah Ferguson in 2010. Thank God Prince Harry took Meghan out. They would have killed or unalived her like they unalived Princess Diana. Where is the lie? I believe that with everything in me. You know why? Because Harry said it. Harry said it. And he said it with his full chest. And so, yeah, this is very disturbing. But I am so glad that Meghan had Harry. Harry was not a Charles. Harry is absolutely his mother's son. He is. And I'm just so glad that they got away. I am so glad that they're in Montecito. I am so glad that they're over 5,000 miles away, minding their business, but they still have to be alert because these people are dangerous people. And you know, I say it all the time, really is very dangerous. And this particular squatty posted this and said, Prince Harry probably only fully understood how ruthless his family is when he married Meghan. Where is the lie? Where is it? Because in this post, this squatty posted this excerpt from Spare where Prince Harry said him and Meghan was laying in the bed, and she asked him, did he think that they would take away his security? And he was saying, no, no way, not in the climate in which they live. And because they hadn't taken away Andrew's security, and he was presently embroiled in a sex scandal. And so Harry said, it's no way that they would take away his security, but they did. So I agree with this squatty. Until he married Meghan, he did not know how dangerous his family was because he didn't know any better. And when he got the chance to pull away from that family and really see them through a new lens, I think Harry understands exactly who he's dealing with. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, we're going to switch gears and we're going to talk about Kitty and her thieving. Yes, she has been out here thieving. And Kaiser from Celebrity wrote this. It says, Princess Kate wore a pattern coat to visit a Welsh brand made famous by Meghan. And what squatties are saying about this is it's as if Kate has started to retrace everything that Meghan did when she was a working royal. All the brands, she is starting to go to them and trying to erase Meghan's impact of what she had when she was over there. Because y'all remember every time Meghan would wear a handbag or a dress or anything, it would sell out. It was the Meghan effect. The Meghan effect just didn't happen after Harry and Meghan left. No, it was in full effect when Meghan was a working royal. And so she visited the jean factory that Meghan had wore those jeans when she was on tour in Australia, her and Harry. And they exploded to the point where this company had to move into a bigger building. And it was, what, 3 months backlog to order. And she was over there today trying to erase that and trying to make the success of this business somehow be attached to her. Yes, and this particular squatty wrote about it and said, do not be surprised if Kate starts to visit various places Meghan has visited just to keep in the headlines, because there is literally no reason for her to visit a jean company that Meghan made famous when I'm sure there are many other brands she could lend her royal presence to. Where is the lie? Where is it? But this is who this woman is. I mean, it is no level of pathetic that they're not willing to make her debase herself in order to try to take on Meghan's persona. They are literally trying to make her into Meghan when Meghan was a working royal. And now here she is dressed up like Meghan and at this factory that she didn't even know existed until Meghan put them on the map. And this other squatty came up under Kaiser's post and said, Kate's intentions are obvious. Erase Meghan and make herself the face that will be remembered at Halt Jeans. She can't have success on her own, so she co-ops Meghan's. She wants to be her because Meghan is the woman Kate's husband really wants. Now, I believe that as well, because we know he wants everything that Harry has. And I believe that's a lot what has been going on with Kate, because he has put so much pressure on her to be like Meghan. And we all know she can't. She never can be. All she can do is copy because she's too mediocre to outpace Meghan. And I want to put this up because Hannah put this up a while back and it still continues to ring true. She said, one day we're going to talk about how after being responsible for the attacks that pushed Meghan to the brink of wanting to unalive herself, Kate Middleton proceeded to steal her entire persona. And that right there has been the plan ever since Meghan left. I mean, she went about doing it right after Meghan left. I mean, she started wearing the same shoes, the same clothes, the same designers, doing her hair in the very same way as Meghan. It has been an ongoing thing. And here she is trying to bite off of Meghan when it comes to fashion. I mean, it's ridiculous. I am in such an agreement with this. It's a conversation that needs to be had about how sick this is. And this squatter who reposted this says, stealing Meghan's the Duchess of Sussex persona style includes words and giving it to Kate Middleton and even acting as if Kate was the one who wore it first or come up with the style. Where is the lie? She is walking around with Meghan's style and they want to try to contribute it to her. But we will never allow that. We will always call them out because this is ridiculous. It's sad, it's pathetic, and it is so obvious that this woman has made a conscious choice to try to duplicate Meghan. And I'm going to put this up, and I want y'all to know my timeline is just full with posts like this. People talking about how smart Harry was to write Spare. And I'm just going to read one because we are long on time, but this is a repost, and the original post says, the fact that Prince Harry left that institution and basically said, just in case, here's all of my secrets. Genius. It was genius because if you don't think that they would be leaking all of Harry's secrets, if he hadn't put them in Spare, they would have leaked them in order to distract from what is going on now. We would have learned that Harry used drugs at one time. It would have leaked. It would have been drip of throwing him under the bus. So I agree with this squatty. And the squatty that reposted it said, genius on Prince Harry's part. He knew his family wasn't SHIT and that they would leak all of his secrets and dirty laundry the minute he did or said something they didn't like or to scapegoat him. He gave them nothing to blackmail him with or nothing to hold over his head. Yes. And this squatty said, we can all agree that Prince Harry's memoir Spare saved him and Meghan. By him airing his own dirty laundry and secrets, he prevented the family from leaking against him, blackmailing him, and continued to use him as the family scapegoat. Smart and well done, Harry. Yes, Harry absolutely made a master stroke. Y'all tell me what y'all think about that. But I think Harry did that doggone thing. And I'm going to put this up. It's my last one. And this squatty posted this cute picture of Harry and Meghan and said, my lovely, unproblematic royals. Yes. So unproblematic. They mind their own business. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.